Hello students, how are you? Today we will continue our story, so please get out your storybook. The next morning, the shoemaker finds many pairs of boots on his work table. So the next morning, he finds many pairs of boots on his work table. Okay, so he sells them and buys more leather. The next day, he finds more pairs of boots in his work table. Can you see them? So this happens every day for weeks. This happens every day for weeks. So this happens for only 1 day, 2 days, no, 3 days, no. This happens every day for weeks, okay? So the shoemaker now becomes famous, What do you mean famous? Famous means that everyone knows him, So the shoemaker becomes famous for his lovely boots, So the boots are ugly? No. Bad? No. They are lovely boots, okay? Now the shoemaker and his wife can now buy a bigger house. So the shoemaker and his wife now can buy a bigger house. So the shoemaker and his wife live now in a small house? No, they live now in a big house. So he and his wife can now buy a bigger house, okay? Please open your books, page 16. Let's read together. The next morning, the shoemaker finds many pairs of boots on his work table. He sells them and buys more leather. The next day, he finds more pairs of boots on his work table. This happens every day for weeks. So circle weeks. Soon he becomes famous. Circle famous. We said that famous means that everyone knows him, okay? For his lovely boots. Circle lovely. Soon he becomes famous for his lovely boots. He and his wife can now buy a bigger house. So circle bigger house. He and his wife can now buy a bigger house. So please circle bigger house. So I'm gonna read it again. The next morning, the shoemaker finds many pairs of boots on his work table. He sells them and buys more leather. The next day, he finds more pairs of boots in his work table. This happens every day for weeks. Soon, he becomes famous for his lovely boots. He and his wife can now buy a bigger house. So now, open your story booklet on page 18. Letter A complete. Number 1. The next what the shoemaker finds many pairs of boots. The next morning. Okay, so the next morning the shoemaker finds many pairs of boots. Number 2. Space sells the boots and buys more leather. Who sells the boots and buys more leather? The shoemaker. So the shoemaker sells the boots and buys more leather. Number 3. This happens every day for years? No, this happens every day for weeks. Number 4. The shoemaker becomes, we said this, that the shoemaker becomes famous. Number 5. He and his pet can buy a bigger house. He and his mom? No, he and his wife. So he and his wife can buy a bigger house. Letter B, answer the questions. Number 1. Where does the shoemaker find many pairs of boots? Where? On his work table. Okay, so he finds them on his work table. Number 2. Why does the shoemaker become famous? Because of his lovely boots. So he becomes famous because of his lovely boots. What can the shoemaker and his wife buy? We said that they can buy a bigger house. Letter C, match. We have to match the 3 sentences with the 3 1. So number 1, the shoemaker sells them and buys more leather. Number 2, he becomes famous for his lovely boots or buy a bigger house for his lovely boots. Number 3, he and his wife can buy bigger house. Thank you for listening.